For more now, we're joined by Texas Republican Congressman Pat Fallon. Thank you so much for joining us, Congressman. You heard what Representative Amo was just saying. He's blaming Republicans. You all blame Democrats. What's the off-ramp here?
Well, Linsey, let's get beyond honesty and let's talk about frankness and candor. The fact of the matter is that Democrats had the chance to vote for a clean CR. There's no new GOP priorities in the CR. And in fact, 13 different times under Joe Biden, there were CRs that Republicans didn't implode. And so to say that this is a fight over ACA tax credits is disingenuous, and it's not being honest with the American people, because that funding goes through December 31st. That's an issue that we should be dealing with in November and December, and everybody should have voted for this 7-week runway so the appropriations process can continue.
And same question that I asked of Congressman Amo. What are you hearing from your constituents? Are they telling you to hold the line?
Well, they're telling us not to keep the government shut down, and we don't want to keep the government shut down. I voted to keep it open. And in fact, 13 different times when Joe Biden was in office, Republicans didn't shut the government down as well. This is a fabricated fight because some folks just want to show their constituents that they're fighting against Donald Trump's agenda. Well, the fact of the matter is that the elections have consequences, and Republicans do hold the House, we do hold the Senate, we do hold the White House. But the reason why we shut down is because Chuck Schumer will not allow the Senate to vote. We need 60 votes in the Senate to allow for a vote. And they can vote against it then because we have plenty of votes to pass the CR, but Chuck Schumer won't allow that vote. And Linsey, this is very important because this is so historically unprecedented that in the last 165 years, in the history of the Republican Party, Republicans have never done this when they were in the minority. This is a legislative coup, and this is an attempt at minority rule.
If we could take the politics out of it for a moment, though, are you hearing from your constituents that they're concerned that their health care prices are going to skyrocket or they may not be able to afford it at all?
Well, again, we can deal with the ACA tax credits. What the Republicans have done is actually saved taxpayer money, because in the One Big Beautiful Bill, we took 2.3 million people that weren't even eligible for Medicaid off the rolls. And according to the CBO, not the Republicans, not the Democrats, according to the CBO, that saved the American taxpayers $150 billion. So we want to prioritize American citizens over illegal immigrants, because in the Democrats' unserious counterproposal to spend $1.5 trillion in new money, on page 57, section 2141, it repeals that provision and then would allow aliens and even illegal immigrants to get those tax credits, and that's not fair.
Democratic lawmakers have taken to social media to point out what Donald Trump said about government shutdowns before he was ever president. Let's take a listen to this clip.
You know, I hear the Democrats are going to be blamed and the Republicans are going to be blamed. I actually think the president would be blamed. If there is a shutdown, I think it would be a tremendously negative mark on the president of the United States. He's the one that has to get people together.
Ultimately, does the buck stop with President Trump to end this shutdown?
Well, I think the buck stops with Chuck Schumer because he won't allow a vote. And I got a quote for you, too, here, Linsey. Passing a clean CR this week is important. No reasonable member, Democrat or Republican, wants a government shutdown. Chuck Schumer said that on January 16th, 2024. I got quotes from Elizabeth Warren. I got quotes from Chris Murphy, the Democratic senator from Connecticut. They all say the government shutdowns harm the American people. And yet that's what precisely and exactly what they have just voted for. And they are absolutely shameless in this debate because they have no leg to stand on.
I'm just going back, though, to the president's comments before he was president, though. He said ultimately it's up to the president to get it done. The other people that you're citing are senators. They're not able to actually make that distinction on their own. How do you square the statement that Donald Trump made prior to being president with what he's saying now?
Oh, I agree. The president was ready to sign this CR. Chuck Schumer won't put it on his desk. That's the problem. And that's what's so unfair is Chuck Schumer is creating this crisis. So the president's ready to go. And by the way, the only way right now, the only other proposal we have from the Democrats is for the president to spend $1.5 trillion additional dollars. And that's not serious when you have a $36 trillion debt?
Texas Congressman Pat Fallon, we thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, Linsey. God bless.